right, you guys, podcast time.
Chew. It's quieter.
Fucking podcasting right now.
Chew quieter.
And now, to the podcast studio.
We're back with Chew Quieter, and today we have a very special guest, and he's very special because he was once my almost neighbor. He was just 3 minutes down the road from me. He's got the best hair in off-road, and he's got the most distinguishable laugh in off-road too. His name is Andrew Bailey.
Hey, what's up, everybody? How are you guys doing, man?
Good.
Welcome to the show.
Woohoo!
Haven't seen you in a while. You got a new job, and like all you do is travel.
Oh my God. So I work in Canada now. So like I still have my home office, but I'm gone all the time, right? So I am rarely here, which is insane, but it's been really good. I'm super happy with that. That's been an awesome career change, a good choice for me. Love what I'm doing. I'm still active in the automotive community, obviously aftermarket performance, and it's been really good. So it's a lot of fun.
So you were at HP Tuners, and you've moved on to, what's the name of this new company?
So I work with a company called Diesel R Corp now. Basically, we do all diesel truck performance now. So they specialize in a lot of tuning, but I kind of work on the hard parts side. So I work with OEM manufacturers providing parts to the customers, and I'm overseeing, helping the support team, helping the marketing team, just kind of doing a little bit of everything. So it's been a lot of fun. It's been challenging. It's been busy, but I've really enjoyed it a ton. So it's been good. Good change.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's been the biggest challenge for you in the little crossover?
So going from a position where you were in such a corporate space and everything was you kind of knew what to expect. You knew everything was fluid. Like I still love everybody at HP Tuners. I left on great terms, love those people to death, and miss that company, miss my coworkers a ton. But, I went to a place where now everything's kind of on the fly, right? So there are benefits to that, but there are also disadvantages, right? So it's like, a little bit of, pros and cons, but it's all kind of for the better, and, getting a little structure here and working with some really great folks. I have a great team. My boss is awesome. My coworkers are great. So we have cool products. So it's been a good thing, actually. So it's just like I said, a little bit of a departure from the norm, which is that's probably the biggest challenge is, the norm, right? The product, You've been selling it for almost 5 years, and you know it inside and out, which I still sell that product, which is really beautiful. And I know all about it. We have, I can market it, I can sell it, I can teach it. Right. So, which that's one of the nice things. But when it comes to the other products, there's such a huge learning curve. You're selling, other brands now. And so, it's just like any other industry. You're just selling something new kind of, but at least I still have that old product to hang on to. So that's kind of my go-to these days. So
your learning curve wasn't so great. It was barely a learning curve then, right?
Yes. So thank God it's you're selling essentially the same product. You're not selling what you are selling to your customers. You're now selling what your customers are selling, right? So it's just educating the consumer. And so I was actually up in Canada last week teaching the marketing guys that. I was like, how do you learn to understand who the consumer is, and how do you speak to them? And they're like, what do you mean? They're young guys and they're really smart. So I'm like, well, how do you speak to them? They're like, well, I don't understand. I'm like, let me give you some examples. And you show them some others marketing and some things they've been doing. And it's like, they're speaking to the customer. The guys just dropped a video 2 days ago, and I was like, see, that's exactly what I'm talking about. And, one of our guys, Core, was like, I totally figured it out. Like, it totally makes sense now. And he just, it's like the light bulb went off. He made a beautiful video. It spoke to the consumer. It spoke to the customer. It spoke to our dealer network. And it was awesome. So they did a great job. So I look forward to more of that this year too. And we also do an event every year, which is insane. So like last year, the Diesel brothers were there, and Whistling Diesel was there, and Avery Schoaf was there. And so we had a bunch of celebrity guests, and in this little bitty tiny town of like a few hundred people, 10,000 people showed up. It's a burnout competition. Yeah, it's nuts. And there's like nothing there. Like that's like on the US Canada border. It's a little town called Warner, Alberta. And literally there's just farms, man. It's just nice people and farms. I mean, there is the gas station isn't manned. Like you walk up to this little hut thing and you pay for your gas. It's crazy. I've never seen, like it was kind of an eye-opening situation. I'll just say that. And so, but super cool. We took over their little local airport where the the crop dusters and stuff fly out of, and we do a big burnout competition there. And it's, man, people come from all over Canada and the US to show up, and it was just a blast. People are so nice and so welcoming. And I look forward to actually having a hand in that this year. Last year I was just a guest, and so now I'm actually going to be able to have a hand in that event as well. So it's really, really a lot of fun. It's cool.
When you say have a hand, do you mean participate? Or
No, well, I don't know. I'm not getting something to do a burnout, dude. I'm not scared. I mean, if somebody gives me the opportunity, I'm not going to turn that down, right? But no, it would be more just the planning and the execution of the events and stuff, because I have a lot of background in that, right? So I've thrown large events and concerts and festivals and things over the years, and so I will be able to bring a ton to the table there, and I'm really excited about sharing my knowledge with everybody else, because our team is all really young, but they're all on fire, man. So it's like, we get all jaded as we get older. We're like, fuck this, fuck that, right? And so, can we say fuck? Is that okay?
Yeah,
So,
fuck yeah.
Fuck it.
But you're now with some young, hungry people, and we're all old and jaded as fuck. So now everybody's on fire. So you can actually you've got people to teach and instill your skills and the knowledge that you've learned and the gifts and talents that you have. You're able to give those to others and share. So, and I've, like I said, the coolest team of people ever. They're just all on fire for it, and I think that's so cool. So I miss having. I mean, I guess I'm always kind of on fire. I'm upbeat, but like. They got that, like, when I was 20 and on fire spirit. They have that, because they are
spunk.
20 and on fire, right? Yes. So I think it's awesome. And it really inspires me a ton. So it's cool.
So we already discussed kind of like the crossover between old product and what you're doing now with the new product.
Yeah.
What's it like, though, working with Canadians? Because I've heard their attitude is completely different from what the U.S. attitude is in the corporate world.
So, all right, couple of things here, right? So they're like the nicest people on earth. So let me first say that, and that's the truth. Like, Canadians are like super freaking nice. But there are just a few differences. So like, we purchased another company this last year. And so our main business is a storefront. They have, a shop. They work on vehicles. They do general repair. They do performance, right? And then we also sell, calibrations. And so people will actually drive 30 hours to come to that shop. So if you sell to another shop, they're like, I don't want to, push your brand because somebody may want to come to your shop. I'm like, what? Somebody's not going to drive 30 hours, right? And they're like, oh, hell yeah, they will. And I'm like, that's like baffling to me. But I mean, it's just because it's so sparsely populated as a country. You have your large cities, obviously, but people will literally drive 30 hours to come push your shop. So we own another company, and so a lot of people want to push that brand, and that's great. I got no issues there, right? That's a cool thing as well, and because they don't own a shop, obviously, but that's one of those really weird things to me. I don't understand it, but beautiful country. I look forward. I'm actually going to go up there for the summer and spend the summer there, and just use that as my hub to work out of. And I'm actually looking forward to that because I really, really enjoy that country. British Columbia is super beautiful, and Alberta is as well, but Alberta's like it's their version of Texas. Does that make sense? Like Great Plains, there's mountains in the background. People are like hardworking farmers and oil rig folks, man. They're just normal dudes like you or I, man. And it's their version of Texas, and those people are fucking cool, man. They got it all figured out. They're not they're not missing anything. So.
Is that the west coast of Canada?
It's kind of the western middle part of Canada, like above Idaho and Montana and the Dakotas and stuff like that. So it's like I said, it's their Great Plains. And then once you cross the Rockies, you get to their west coast, which is British Columbia. So it's a little bit different over there, but it's gorgeous because it is just untouched. The Rockies are gorgeous there. They're beautiful, more beautiful than the Colorado Rockies, like 1,000 times more. Yeah. And they got like Banff and all these other places. So it's cool, man. It's if you've never been, it's worth a visit. I'll tell you that for sure.
So are you taking the wife with you, or she's hanging back?
No, I'm going to take her and the pups with me, man, actually. So
nice.
So she gets to experience that a little bit. So the plan is maybe to spend some time in Vancouver, which is British Columbia, just above Seattle, and then going over to Kelowna. Yeah. So, and just kind of checking it all out. So I'm excited. And for me, it's like shorter flights, less international travel, not so much craziness. You know what I'm saying? So.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of the pups, you're a new fur dad.
Oh yeah, I got two.
Yeah, they're awesome little dogs. I've seen pictures. Haven't yet met them
Yes,
yet.
I
I'd
know.
invite them over, but my dog is somewhat of an asshole, as you know, and I don't want him to be snapping at them because they're adorable dogs. So I need to get my dog in check before I have your dogs over here.
Monty's an asshole, bro. Like he doesn't like other animals at all. So honestly, like you're not really gonna be missing anything, right? You're just gonna miss Monty being an asshole. Oliver's gonna just lick you to death with big, wet, sloppy kisses. But Monty, he's great with people. He's gonna bark at you like for the first 10 minutes, and then he'll be fine. And he will not look at your dog at all. He won't acknowledge your dog. He'll like if your dog walks up, he'll go like this. He'll be like. You're like, dude, what's your deal? Like, just pay attention. He won't. He will not at all. Like, not even a little bit. It's crazy.
It changes your life, though, doesn't it?
Man, you know me. Like, I've always been on the road for as long as both of you guys have known me. When you were in your former position, Armando, and I was on the road doing shows and stuff, and owning a shop, and even my last position, always on the road. But now, like, you really miss your dogs a lot. It's the strangest thing, man. You're like, God, I want to get back home to those little furry fuckers. And when you open the door, they're barking for like 10 minutes and they're jumping up and down. Oliver can jump like this high, and I'm 6'3", you guys. So he jumps up and, he's like trying to lick my face, and the other one's just barking. He wants to play. And I'm like, man, nothing loves you like that when you walk in the door of a place. I love my wife, man, but like those little fuckers, man, they're my world, man. So
she's not jumping up and licking your face.
No, not so much, man. It's like she'll be like, "Hey, babe, hope you had a good day. I'll be home in like 3 hours after you get home. Love you."
Yeah, whatever. I'm going to my dogs.
Yes, exactly.
And we have to give her all the credit for your wonderful hairstyle.
Man, she's wonderful all around. I'm super fortunate to have her around. She takes care of the dogs. She takes care of our house, man. She works hard. She's independent. She's strong. She's a great cook. Like, there's so many wonderful talents and gifts my wife has, man. I am very, very fortunate. And she puts up with my fucking travel and my shit. So there's also that. We're all kind of fortunate in that matter. I mean, Armando, the road thing, and Gabe, you're no stranger to being on the road and being gone, and you understand it. Like we all have our character defects, as I would say, right, that make us not good people, and it's really, really wonderful to have somebody that actually cares about you and loves you past your character defects. So
yeah, the dogs.
Yeah. Oh, true.
And
true.
And we're lucky because our wives are friends also. So
yes.
They hang out even when we're not there. And unfortunately, that it's been a few times that they've hung out and we're not there. But I'd hate to think what they're talking about behind our backs.
Man, I don't think they're hating on us, honestly. I mean, we have our piece of shit characteristics. I'm sure there are times when like, yep, Andrew's a piece of shit or Gabe's a piece of shit, but maybe not. I mean, I don't know, but they're gonna get together and bitch about us a little bit, I'm sure. But it's okay. So they're having fun doing it.
Yeah, Jennifer's probably like, does your husband also take a shit and just leave stains on the toilet?
Those are racing stripes, baby.
Oh my god!
That's the newest fad on HGTV.
I love it. Oh.
No, it's you're right though. I was gone one time, and our old dog was sick. Flex was sick. He had cancer, and when I came back from my last trip. He was happy to see me, and then he took a really bad turn for the worst, and we had to put him down the next week. And I wholeheartedly think he kind of waited for me to get home to say goodbye. So yeah, you're right. Dogs have that thing where they're just, they're happy to see you when they see you. They're super appreciative of everything that you're doing for them. So dogs just completely change your whole outlook on life. And of course, when he passed, it changed my outlook on life too. And I said, I'm probably not going to travel as much anymore because it kind of hurt,
Of course. I wanted to make sure I couldn't even imagine, man. Right. Like,
yeah. So yeah, that's one reason why I dialed it back quite a bit in the last few years. For one, because I wanted to make sure that we had this house and it was furnished and it was, all the projects that we wanted to do were done. And that way later on, I can go away if I need to and not have to worry about shit. I'm in the middle of this project. I can't leave. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I
Yeah, my
wanted to make
house
sure all
is
my ducks were in
half
a row.
full of projects right now that need to be finished that, I've not finished, My wife redid she refinished the coffee bar, and the doors are just laying in front of it. She's like, "Hey, will you throw those hinges on?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll get right on that." I've been home 3 days or something, haven't touched them. I'm like, I'm such a half-ass. So just one thing after another. So
Yeah. Well, I remember you were talking about you're still using HP tuner stuff. And
Yep.
recently I just I was kind of involved with the latest project with Flex Rocks and Rollovers.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
saw you tuning a Jeep using HP tuner stuff.
You didn't see me tuning because I am definitely not a tuner. I don't even know how to use the shit. But I will tell you, I know how to use the scanner. So I'll help data log or check engine or things of that nature. But no, you're not gonna see me tuning. There's always a joke I used to tell customers. I'm like, yeah, you put like plus 10 on everything, right? And they're like, oh yeah, that's exactly how you do it. Not how you do it at all. Like absolutely not. But I've tons of opportunities to go to the tuning school. Bob Morreale and those guys are so great over there, and they've offered to, hey, just come to a class. We want you to learn how to tune. I'm like, dude, I got zero desire to do that. I'll leave that to the professionals, man. Even when I, tune my buggy, I actually, flew a buddy of mine in from California to tune it here locally. He did a great job. Really did a wonderful job. But I'm like, that's not my world. I got no desire to do that. It's numbers and math, and I'm just not good with that stuff. It's not my forte. Like, Gabe, you can build a spreadsheet in your sleep. I'm like over the spreadsheet if I'm like, son of a bitch, and then it all messes up and you're like, what did I do? Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, it's like, oh my God. So, we all have our gifts and talents. Mine is definitely not spreadsheets and it's definitely not tuning. So, but I can run the scanner, man. And so, what's funny is, I'd already departed from HP by the time we filmed that, but I was like, hey, I want to, do this bit, help HP obviously. Cause like I said, I still have a great relationship with those guys. Love those guys.
And they're a sponsor, right? For it, FRR.
Flex Rocks and Rollovers, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, so you want to actually make sure you're doing a good job for your sponsor as well. So
yeah, so I'm super appreciative that you guys invite me to be part of some of these projects and be your voiceover for the narration and the introductions to the shows and all that. So thank you very much to you, Yanni and Marvin.
Yeah, man, that's been a fun journey. 5 years. It's like crazy. This last year, Marvin's just really taken hold, and Yanni has too, and they've taken it to a whole nother level. I'm super proud of him, and I try to be as involved as I can, but obviously, with my travel and my job lately, it's been hitting the ground running pretty hard. So it's been unfortunate I'm not as involved. But he and I talked, actually, Marvin and I talked for a long time yesterday about some stuff for this year and some plans he has for what he wants to do and how he wants to film and upcoming projects and hell and back obviously and some different things, and then we talked about some sponsor stuff and kind of went back and forth. So I'm always here if he needs me to bounce something off of. It's always been that way. It's been a great relationship. Love the dude to death. So yeah.
So speaking of hell and back, the last one, that trail looked fucking gnarly. Like I don't think I've ever even seen anything like that on camera anywhere.
It was super duper short overall. Like, I think the dude that morning walked down in like 21 minutes or something, and but it's just insane. And the craziest part about that whole thing, because, we've all been wheeling, right? That was a fucked up trail, like super hard, crazy. Nobody broke anything but the freaking axle shaft, like, in the beginning. Like, we didn't really have any other major breakages except for the sector shaft broke on the boys' Jeep, and then on Rory's Jeep, he broke a tie rod end or something at the very end there, and he had to weld it back up. But it was after the 24 hours, so like he didn't have to wear the pink helmet, So we're like, what the fuck? No, And he's under there with the welder that morning, and he's like, see, I got you, boys. But he had it fixed in 3 seconds because it's Rory, man. He's like a magician. Guy's insanely talented. So
yeah, the trail looked mostly vertical than it did anything else.
All you did was go literally up like this. I mean, it was the craziest thing as far as that goes. And you just didn't stop going up. You're like, at some point we'll have to stop going up, and you just never did. Like even that morning, as after like the 24 hours are over, it still went up like a shitload more, and you're finally literally on the peak of this mountain, driving across the top of the mountain. And I was so tired, and I walked that whole trail just about, except for the very, very end. I was like, my knees hurt. I'm old. I'm out of shape. Like this really sucks. This altitude sucks. It's been cold. I'm like, oh my God. So Marvin's like, you have to walk down. I was like, I'm just going to ride it like literally on the top of the back of the Jeepster. And Robbie Layton. And so he ended up letting the boys, I was going to ride back down with him, but we threw all the camera crew guys because they had actually really been on their feet even longer than I had, because I took a little sleepy town nap at one point, which was really awesome. They caught me on camera doing it. It's all good.
You got to do that. You got to nap.
Man. Yes.
I mean,
I'm okay with the old guy stuff.
Even if you're wearing the pink helmet, you got to do it just for, you got to sacrifice something.
Dude, I was just there to be there. Like I didn't have to wear no pink helmet. You know what I'm saying? I didn't bring my shit, so he, but he did get me on camera, but I rode all the way down. And I was like, be right down in just a second. Come to find out, I probably should have walked down, because it took like an hour to drive all the way around to get back down a road. It's insane, man. It's crazy, but it was a good time.
Yeah. So I think the first Rain of Rocks I was a part of. Is that the one that was in Chinquapin, or was that the second Rain of Rocks?
That was Chinquapin was the first one. That's correct. Yep, you were there.
So that was fun.
Yep.
That was a long night.
People have no clue how these things work. They're like, it's all staged or it's easy. No, dude, you have multiple camera crews and you have months of planning, and still things break. You're renting equipment doesn't show up. Post-production is crazy. Poor Yanni, he gets like 50 million terabytes of data, and they're like, hey, have fun, buddy. Go through this and make something. And he's a magician, dude, but like there is so much that goes into those things, and like, picking the right people, to be part of it. And everybody's always like, you don't have girls or something. Like, dude, we've had a girl in almost every single one, and it's like, the last one we actually invited Holly, and, she obviously broke her back and couldn't make it, but she came out that day. But, people always have some sort of comment to say, oh, you only use famous people or YouTubers. And I'm like, that's not true at all. Like, none of that's true. It's like, if we have a personal relationship with someone, they're cool people, they have a good rig that's going to hold together. That's, whoa, you all right over there, buddy?
I hope you didn't drop your whiskey.
So, but you have good people, and they want to get out and will, and they all have the same spirit and attitude as you do. That's the right person for this whole thing, right? So that's what you're looking for overall.
Don't mind me just destroying my office here.
Oh, dude, it happens, bro.
I just flicked over a soda on the floor, or a seltzer on the floor. It's all over the floor. There's napkins and shit flying everywhere. I'm like, what the hell did I do?
God, my desk is an absolute mess, man. Right now, it's an atrocious thing, because I come back and I'm like home for a day, and I've started a project, and then I'm doing something else, and it's like just a giant pile of shit everywhere. So it happens.
Yeah. So back to Flex Rocks and Rollovers. I've met more cool people doing some of your projects than I have doing other projects. For example, Jason Vanover.
Nicest guy on earth, right?
We met once, and he would call me or text me throughout and just say, hey, how's it going, man? We got to get together. And then I told him that I sold my Jeep, and he was bummed out. He was like, man, I wanted to wheel with you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He's a sweetheart of a dude, man. Huge spirit. He's helped so many people. He's probably given back to the community more than most people will ever give in their life. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. He is just that type of guy. He's got a wonderful heart, wonderful spirit. He's passionate about off-road. He is I could tell you some of the things he's done, and it'd be off camera, but you would just be blown away at the spirit and the human that man is. And I'm proud to call him a friend, actually. So it's a good guy.
His exterior looks like total Harley Davidson biker, badass motherfucker. He's gonna fuck you up if you look at him sideways. But when you talk to him, he's very soft spoken.
Yep.
He's very welcoming. Yep. He will hug you. Yep. He will put his arm around you. He's just the nicest guy.
Yep. That's the type of person you're looking for, right? Like, you wouldn't just approach that guy in a normal scenario. You're like, fuck, I ain't touching that guy. I ain't talking to the guy. He's gonna beat my ass, right? But he is the biggest teddy bear and largest heart of anyone I know, probably. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of cool people, man. Like you said, just over the years, man, you go wheeling, you meet somebody cool, and you're like, that person's on the mental list for, a video in the future, right? Marvin's just like, who would you pick, And it's like each and every time, you have a little bit of input in this thing, and it's like, man, I would choose this person. And, he's like, why would you choose that person? And I'm like, well, because remember they did this, this, and this. He's like, oh, yeah. And I'm like, that person is a perfect fit, right? So you meet so many nice people in this community. And, there's some people here for good reasons, some people not, right? But we have been really fortunate to meet some really awesome people and, have actually some cool content out of it too. And people come out and they spend their time and their effort to push the rigs to the limit. There's a guy in Texas, Keith from Texas Complete. I called him to do Rain of Rocks in Alabama, and he's like, yeah, dude, I'll be there. And it's like, holy shit, guy loaded up and came all the way from Alabama just to film, for one day and turn around and drive all the way back to West Texas. And so, people don't think about the time and the contributions and the gas money and, rolling and destroying the rig, coming out to put on the show. And, it's much appreciated, dude, because, all that content, you share it with the world, and you share it with people who are, passionate about what we are passionate about and the things we enjoy and like to be part of, the spirit of that. And I really, really love that. So I must say that it's kind of an honor that people will come out and destroy their shit for you, because they like you or they want to be part of what you're doing, so.
Who's been the biggest character to you that has been on either Rain of Rocks or Hell and Back?
One of my favorites is Tyler Oberste. He was the one, him,
Yep.
Mr. Rev Limiter,
Yep.
Little Caesars. Yeah. He's just funny. He's, he's like one of those dudes who's like down to party all the time, right? Just kind of laid back, but like he's here for the party. And that guy is just insane. He don't give up, man. He's going to lay it down to the floor and just mat it until it either makes it up or it rolls. And he doesn't care. It's kind of like Jeff, obviously that's another great character, right? Jeff's all quiet and soft-spoken, you'd never think he's a crazy person. Then he has like 3 or 4 beers, throws a cigarette in the mouth and rolls his buggy 18 times and, keeps rolling it over. I remember we were at Gold Mountain one weekend and Tommy Ford is like, hey man, put him on live, put him on a live. And, it's like, Jeff, just hit it harder one more time. If you roll your buggy, I'll change the hood on it. I'll buy you a new hood. Jeff rolled his Jeep like 7 times that night. I was like, oh my God.
Well, I remember when we were doing Kingdom Crawl and we were at Windrock.
Yeah.
We had an XJ that had broke, I think he had broke like almost everything on the front axle. And we had asked Jeff to come up and tow him out. And we're thinking Jeff is going to just softly tow him out, just take it easy. And he was like, whang! Just on the pedal, just dragging that fucker, just dragging it. Yeah, it wasn't even yanking. It was just it would just go. I mean, I don't think he had any other speed at all in mind. Just go.
Wow. Yeah. Jeff is something else, man. He's a trip.
Yeah. He's quite the businessman too.
Oh yeah. King of the pizza, man.
Yeah. It's not my most favorite pizza, but I'll order from him just because it's Jeff.
You want to support him, right? Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of the same way, right? It's not my favorite pizza, but it's 3 minutes from my house, or maybe 2 minutes, right? So I'm gonna for sure get it because it's Jeff's store, and you want to support him, right? So
yeah, absolutely. But there is another good pizza place that's just down the street from you, and I forget the name of it. We used to order it all the time, and we ordered it because it was sourdough pizza.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I can't remember the names, like Ambrosia or something like that. I can't remember now.
Huh. I got to figure this out now. I'm a pizza connoisseur. Might as well call me Barstool Sports, right? So
right. The flop is all right. I'll give it a 2 on a flop scale. You know the rules.
Oh. I was in Canada a few weeks ago. I was like, God, I woke up one morning and I was like, man, I got to work. And it was like getting to be lunchtime. I was like, what do you want for lunch? And I don't normally take a lunch, but when I take a lunch, I want a nice lunch. I'm like, I want a fucking wood-fired pizza, bro. I found this legit wood-fired pizza joint, like just randomly in the middle of nowhere, Canada, and they had the best pizza ever, dude. so freaking good. And anyway, it's just good. So yeah, I'm a bit of a pizza connoisseur. I like good pizza. And
How's the
good
Mexican
burgers
food?
too.
How's the Mexican food in Canada?
I don't think I've had any Mexican food in Canada. I don't think I've tried that yet. There are Mexicans in Canada though. There are for sure.
Are there really?
But, yeah. Oh hell yeah, dude.
The lawn's not going to mow itself.
Progress has got to occur, bro.
Those are multiple border jumpers right there.
Oh my god, we're getting canceled for sure. Fucking 2 brown guys on the fucking podcast with a white guy. You're gonna be canceled for sure, man.
Jeez.
So have they gotten you into hockey yet?
Oh, me? No, dude. So it's not even a big thing for me. I used to watch the Preds play a lot, and I've been really fortunate. But to be honest with you, I haven't been a big hockey guy. I haven't been in any games. Like when I'm there, I'm like working my ass off, right? And so I've had so little time to do anything fun other than go to like some nice places and eat. Like I really haven't. Okay, so before I started my job, I went up for Tournament Burnham, which is our event up there, and that weekend Neil took me and some other friends of mine side by side riding in the Rockies, which was super cool. And that was awesome. But other than that, I haven't done anything what I would call fun in Canada. And it's kind of lame, but like you said, you're up there for work. You just, I don't have time. I have weekends and stuff, but like usually I'm so fucking tired. I just crash out in my hotel room through the weekend, right? And then just move on because I'm like, dude, I'm dead. I can't do it. Like I'm brain dead. And lately it's been too fucking cold. Like I got up there 2 weeks ago. And my boss was like, you sure you want to come? And I'm like, yeah, dude, I have shit to do. Like, I've got to come. He's like, no, it's going to be really cold. And I'm like, yeah, how fucking cold can it be? Yeah. So I landed in Calgary at like 9:30 on a Sunday night, right? I walk outside the airport, and I literally cross the road to go to the rental car place. And it was like I took the heaviest bong hit ever in my life. My lungs were on fire. I'm coughing. I'm like, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? It was negative 46.5.
Oh.
Yeah.
So then I proceed to walk into Avis, and like I said, I travel a lot, so I have status like everywhere, right? So I'm in the Avis President's Club line. The Avis line has like 20 people in it, right? And the lady's like, "Are you actually President's Club?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Are you Mr. Bailey?" And I was like, "Absolutely." She's like, "We've been waiting on you." She's like, "We got a car to give you, and then we can call it a night." And I'm like, "What about those people?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, they're not getting cars tonight." I'm like, "Why?" She's like, "You're getting an upgrade." And I'm like, "Okay, what's up?" And she's like, "You have the last car that will actually start." I'm like, "What do you mean? Like, can't you just put a jump box on it?" She's like, "No, they're not starting. It's that cold." She's like, "I'm actually not sure your car is going to start." And I was like,
Oh, shit.
That shit should have been running already.
Bro, my foot was so cold when I went to drive to the hotel. It was like a 16-minute drive to the hotel. I thought I had fucking frostbite, man. My foot just burned uncontrollably, and there's no heat in the car. The heated seat's all you got. I mean, the heat's on, but it's so cold the heat won't work. I mean, I'm in an Audi Q7 SUV. Like, I'm not in a shitbox. I'm not in a fucking Mitsubishi Mirage or something, right? Like, I'm in a nice luxury car, and this shit, like, won't get warm at all. Like, not at all. So I proceeded to spend the week up there. It snowed here. There was hardly any snow on the ground there. And then one day it just started snowing. And it didn't fucking stop for 3 days. And there was 2 extra feet of snow on the ground. And every day your car had this much fucking snow on it. And you had to go clean that off in negative 30 degrees, negative 32 degrees. Dude, there's no fucking way I would live up there in the winter. Just, it's not possible. Like, I'm not built for that.
So working with diesels in that cold weather, how do you actually work with the cold weather and having to work with diesels?
I mean, I don't know. I don't work on diesels. I mean, there's a shop, like if a truck needs to go in for like a service or repair or something, it comes in and they'll let it sit there for a little bit and it'll warm up. But those dudes are built for it, man. They'll put their hands on that cold ass shit. Like, can you imagine your hand being freezing? You're like, turn a wrench and your knuckle just slams against the front of something when it's frozen. Like an engine block or an intake or something. No, dude, that would be it for me. I'd be like, yeah, this job is not for me. I quit. Fuck this shit, bro. I'm a pussy. I'm sorry.
Well, as you know, it snowed here on MLK Day, and the next morning it was minus 10 degrees. I don't know if you were here for that or not.
No, I was in Canada at negative 46 and a half. So yeah.
So I'm thinking to myself, okay, I've been duck hunting. I've got all the good, the good padding, the good, keep you warm shit.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm wearing my good gloves, and I'm shoveling snow, and all of a sudden my hand starts tingling and numbing, and I'm like, was there a spider in my glove that I didn't know about? Did I get bit or something?
Shit.
And I'm thinking, or is this frostbite? It can't be frostbite. I'm wearing gloves. I'm wearing good gloves.
Oh shit.
And I've lived in Colorado for 20 years, and I've lived through blizzards. I lived through minus 18, minus 20 degrees. Never had an issue with frostbite, but for some reason that morning, I had frostbite. My pinky was actually purple, and my other fingertips were starting to get purple, and my pinky was swelling up because of the frostbite. And I was like, okay, I guess that's a wrap for today. I'm going inside.
Well, dude, there's actually something to be said about that. So people will tell you when it's really cold here, it feels colder than it is in other colder temps. And I know that sounds insane, but we have a lot of humidity and moisture in the air here, right? And they probably have a lower moisture content, I would imagine, because when it's like negative 20 there, like it's not nearly as bad as it is when it's, 26 here or something, right? You're like, fuck, it's cold. Like even today, it's been raining. It's like, I went outside to walk the dogs a couple times, and it's cold to your bones, right? Like your skin's not cold, but your bones hurt because like it's fucking cold, man.
There's
It's just
a chill.
a different feeling. Yes, yes. Same type of thing when you're out there, you're out there shoveling, you got your gloves on, you're like, dude, I'm good to go. Like, hell no, you're not good to go, man. Like, you really gotta, I wear wool socks here like half the winter, right? Like people are like, wool fucking socks. Like, why? I'm like, my feet get cold, man, and I don't like to be cold. Like that's the reality of the situation, man. So you have to take care of yourself. You have to wrap up here sometimes. It's crazy like that.
Yeah,
but as you know, you've actually there's been more snow here since you've been here, since you've moved here, than we've had in fucking years, right? Which is
it's my fault. I'm the jinx.
Oh, your fault. Yeah.
Oh, trust me, I know for sure. But we usually have these little stints, man, and there'll be a few days and you got some snow and everything kind of shuts down, which is cool as fuck, and then you hang out at the house, right? Like, well, we work from home, so we never really stop, but other than that, dude, it's like we have great winters, fucking Christmas Day, you're in shorts and a t-shirt sometimes, and you're like, man, this is awesome, So, and you got the 4 true seasons, which is really beautiful. And, Armando, we have trees that turn green actually in the summer. It's kind of cool.
What? You have trees?
Yeah,
What are trees?
Yeah, and there's grass. It's just green stuff on the ground.
Yeah.
Not astroturf, grass.
I know nothing about this stuff you talk about. Hey, we had our week of winter already, so shush.
Yeah,
You're
they had
getting
60
rain
degrees.
right now, aren't you? You're getting rain as
Yesterday.
well, right, Armando? Yeah.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
No, it was yesterday.
I
Day
talked to
before.
Jan
It rained
today.
pretty well.
He said they were getting rain, and obviously you guys have all seen the Hammers photos, and all my friends that live like in San Diego have just been getting pummeled. Also, they're like, "Fuck, dude, it won't stop raining, bro." And I'm like, "Yep."
Speaking of
Saturday,
hammers,
Saturday. Sorry, Gabe. Yeah, Saturday they had Supercross was in San Diego.
Yeah,
the track was terrible. They stopped practice. And then race started. It stopped, but it was terrible until final race.
Yeah, my buddy Lance, he was gonna take his kids, and he's like, "It's gonna be like $1,000 to go, dude, and the weather's gonna be all fucked up." He's like, "I'm not going, dude. Fuck that. No way." I was like, "I get it, bro."
So speaking of hammers, you're not going this year, right?
Unfortunately not. So we've been in the middle of an acquisition of another company, and I've kind of spearheaded that. And so I've been really busy, and my buggy's not ready yet. So I was like, you know what? Fuck this. It doesn't make sense. There's no way that this is going to work out in my favor. So I was like, I'll just skip it this year. And I'm kind of glad now. It's going to looks like a big mud fest, right? So, but I will be missing everybody out there because I enjoy the racing actually, which, a lot of people go to hang out with their friends or whatever. I actually I enjoy watching the drivers drive. I know a lot of them have personal relationships with them, and I'm kind of like everybody's fan, right? I really like to watch them all go head to head because I think it's a ton of fun, and I know how much fun they're having in the car too. So it's one of those situations where I'm going to miss that part about it for sure. So,
and we'll get into another aspect of racing in a second, but first I need to ask you this:
what you got?
You have to ditch one of them. EJS,
okay,
King of Hammers, or Baja. Which one do you ditch?
Oh fuck, that's easy. Yeah,
EJS is
EJS
fucking
is
easy.
gone.
EJS is fucking easy. EJS fucking see ya.
Yeah, Armando.
There's
and I
no
are the
question
same
about
page
that.
For sure.
I can
love
go
going
to
out there
Moab
and
any other
networking.
time of the year.
Yep.
I don't want to go fucking EJS. I have
Yep.
to go, but
Yep.
I don't
It's
want to
good for
go
networking.
EJS.
It's good for business. But really, honestly, if you're not working in the off-road world, there's not a whole lot of reason you need to go to EJS. Because just like Armando said, you can go run all the trails out there, not be hindered by the Red Rock wheelers and all that bullshit. And like, this day I can ride here and this day I can ride here and all that shit. And which vendor ride can I get on and all this stuff. Like, if I'm not there working, like, I'd rather not go there. I mean, Baja is like my life. It's my love. It's my passion. I love Ultra 4 racing. I really am very, very passionate about that race series as well. So, I always am really fortunate that I'm able to go to Baja every year. Like, that's like the coolest thing. I always got a kind of open seat there. Medina makes sure I'm taken care of, my boy, and, they take good care of me and have a ton of fun. We watch racing and, there's no way I would miss either of those races, man. If I had to give one up, it would for sure be EJS. So go to Moab anytime, enjoy myself more.
And you have great connection with BFG too.
Yeah. We have a sponsorship with a tire brand. They've been really good to us over the years, and I really like that tire a lot. Like, they don't pay me anything, obviously. So like, I'm not being paid to say, hey, this tire is great or whatever. Like, I actually do think that the tire is really, really wonderful. The first time I actually ever saw a set of red labels like work, and I was in a position where like, I was like, wow, that's so different than anything else, is old Loxley had him on his little blue Jeep there that he flipped. And
Dumpy.
we were wheeling Hawk Pride, and I went up this crazy, like, slick ass fucking mud covered rock. Like, the bottom of the pit was just like right there is all slick wet mud, and you had to go straight up this thing, and nobody can make it. Sticky swampers, no matter what it was, just burn it to the ground. And he went up there, man, like 2 rotations, the thing's hooked, and they just pulled. And it was like, man, it's crazy how tire technology works and how many great tires are out there on the market, and they all have their needs, and they all suit different people for different things. So I was like, that's the tire for me, and I want to actually run that tire one day. And luckily I'm really fortunate to have a wonderful relationship with them where they provide me with tires. But I've that's the tire I want to run if I had to. It's like, if I had another tire I would want to run, would probably be, because where we live is probably just a sticky swamper, obviously. But I'm super happy with BFGs. I haven't had any issues to make me consider or want to change tires. I mean, I've run a lot of stickies over the years. I've tried the Maxxis. I've tried the Mickey Thompsons. I've had a set of the Pro Comp stickies. I've had the BFGs. I've ran the Goodyears before. Like, I've ran quite a few of the different stickies on the market. And, that's really, for me and my driving style and my rigs, like, it seems to be the best tire for me.
Yeah. So speaking of Loxley, were you with him when he rolled that thing on Pritchett?
Yes, I was very much so there.
So then you've been in Moab both times where you've had shitty experiences. One was with the Quick Trip.
Yes.
And then Loxley.
Yes.
And they were both
I've experienced both of those.
And they were both very long nights.
Yes. The funny thing about the Loxley situation, it was our first time in Moab all together. And, we're on a trail we'd never done before. And we leave Pritchett, and it's dark. You can't see anything. We're following what we think's fucking taillights of somebody else. And, we're super lost, and, end up being, I end up towing him because, Brent and Rob were pretty much running out of gas. So they left, and, they're like, hey, you and Jeff tow him. I was like, okay. So I just start towing Loxley, and I didn't stop. I mean, I'm climbing anything. Like, I could see, and, it's just killing my Jeep. Just, you hear the transmission. I'm like, oh, fuck, this is going to really suck. And, it's dark. It's literally pitch black. And, I pull up, and I'm like, where'd the fucking trail go? I got a spotlight out. I'm looking. And I look up, I'm like, oh, fuck. And it happened to be high dive, right? And I'm like, I'm not driving up that. Well, I'd never been over there before, right? So
you made a wrong
I didn't know
turn.
you could just go around, right? But I'm like,
just to the right.
Yeah, me and Matt are just looking. I'm like, it is pitch ass black, right? You can't see anything. So I'm like, he's basically in tears, man. He's like, fuck it, we're leaving in here. I don't care anymore. And I'm like, all right. And I'm the only person that had heat in the Jeep, right? So everybody else is freezing. So Jeff literally lays in between my tire and the headers of my Jeep. Matt's in my passenger seat. I'm in the driver's seat. Everybody's cold, and they're all tripping out. So it's a wild situation that night. And that's the the stuff that life's made of, and that's all those memories that you always have. And that was kind of the end of Loxley and off-roading for the longest time.
So just to give everyone a little bit of a backstory, I think it was his first time in Moab too, right?
I think so as well.
And he just took off the full coverage of that Jeep.
Yeah, and spent a fortune.
He went up on
the Jeep too.
He went up rock pile, and he just sent it, and he hit the bottom lip of rock pile, and it just went end over.
Yeah, it literally went up like this and just flipped. I mean, it just went straight up and just straight back. I mean, it didn't roll back. It literally straight up and went in the air and then went and then it rolled over. It was hard, and then it just rolled over. Gas. The scariest part about the whole situation was the oh my God, why's my brain not? The rollover valve. Thank you. My brain is not working today. It's been a long day. Sorry, guys. The rollover valve wasn't working, so it was literally pouring gas all over him. And at that point, I was just fearful that my friend was going to combust and die in front of me. He's trying to get out, and everything was just weird, right? Like it was, when you're in a situation like that, you're not in panic mode, but it's all uncomfortable, right? For everybody. And you're nervous and you don't know if he's okay. Luckily, he grabbed his axle helmet and put it on his head right before he attempted that obstacle. And I'm so thankful for that moment, because he would have been really hurt badly. It would have been a really, really bad situation. Already trying to get him out of there when his 14-bolt tube looked like a U. And
that was crazy.
His front axle was broken. He broke the output shaft on his transfer case, on front and rear. He tried to start the engine. He poked a hole through the oil pan. The rod poked a hole through the oil pan immediately. Like everything that could have tore up on that Jeep, literally everything broke right there. And you're taking a Jeep out of there that is so broken, and you're just dragging something that's so torn up. Like there's no experience like that you could even imagine that it would go that bad just by flopping, right? Like, it flop, we'll flip it back over and start it back up. No, dude, the whole fucking thing broke, like in every way, form, or fashion. You're trying to tow it up over rock pile, trying to tow it up out of the boat ramp. You're trying to get it out of there. I mean, it was wild, man. It was a very long day and night, just like the quick trip, but even worse because the scenario was much worse. So
well, so the quick trip was crazy just because there were so many unfortunate events that happened. First, Chris had a steering issue, which caused everything to kind of go haywire in the first place.
Yep.
So during the rescue attempt, Marvin and Troy, their Jeep started having issues. Marvin had electrical issues, and Troy had a fuel pickup issue.
Yep.
So his
fuel pump broke in half, I believe, if I remember properly, or fuel pickup broke in half or something.
Yeah, that was the pickup.
Yeah.
So we had 2 rigs that were out trying to get out of Golden Spike to help get a new part for Chris. Both of those rigs were just down. And it was just another one of those situations where it was just a super long night and another cold night too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It was a super cold night. And, it's funny. I got to get out of there a little bit, obviously, right? Like, this Jeep drives over the hill and it's flashing lights and honking. And Marvin's like, do you know this guy? I'm like, that's fucking Sean. Yes, yes, help, and, we're blasting ass out of there. But it's just a long way down, a long way back up. And you're getting parts and trying to grab food for people who are starving because, we just expected a quick trip, right? So it was a strange bit of circumstances there.
Yeah. So the funniest part about Loxley breaking was we're all back at our Airbnb, and we had a huge house that week.
Yeah,
and,
nice one. Yeah.
Nice one, yeah. And we're all having fun. We're all drinking. And I think Matt was pretty much drunk at the time. And he's laughing. Like, he's having a good time at this point. He's forgotten about his Jeep breaking. And he's laughing. All of a sudden, his phone rings. And he looks at his phone, and it's his wife. And he went from joyous, happy, jubilant to, oh, fuck.
Oh, yeah.
In like 0.01 seconds.
Oh, yeah, and she didn't really know what happened even for a long period of time, even until we were all together, like, was that 2 years later or something, and we're all you were coming to Nashville to visit.
I was visiting.
And we were sitting across from each other, and Brent's like, "Yeah, he broke this, and he broke this, and he broke this, and he broke this," and like you can see Matt's face, and you can see her face, and she's getting angrier, and Matt's just like every second he says something
like,
else is broken. He can't say shut the fuck up, right? I think he's trying to kick Brent on the table, and Brent's like, "What? I didn't know, and I'm like, "Oh my god." His wife didn't know any of this stuff, right? It's like she's so fucking pissed. I'm sure that had to bring up a nightmare, right?
Yeah, she knew the bare bones, and she only knew a little bit about what happened because of the Facebook posts.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So that's when he got the phone call.
Oh yeah.
And then obviously he didn't tell her everything. Just
when do we
enough.
really ever tell our wife everything, right? So,
oh god, yeah.
We're gonna leave
try
a
to
few
keep
critical details out of here that like I broke every fucking thing on the Jeep, like it's not drivable ever again. So yeah, that's a hard part, man.
Yeah, I think he had to buy her a boat.
Yeah, I think he bought her a new car and a boat, I believe.
A new car and a boat.
Yeah. So that was. I think
he bought her 17 boats.
Man. You know, they're gonna have a baby soon. I'm excited for him. Dude. He's actually he's left the off-road industry, and I think he had a hard go there, and he's actually doing roofing or something now, selling roofs.
Yeah.
Seems real happy and proud of him. Seems like he's in a really good headspace. So good for him. You know.
Yeah. They're expecting Valentine's Day.
Oh wow, okay. I didn't even know that. So
it's
cool.
Gonna be a boy.
Huh,
I think his name is going to be. Oh, he told me the name. He already has a nickname, Dinky.
Dinky, huh? Okay.
Yeah, so I guess Dinky is a family nickname that comes down from either his grandfather or his great-grandfather.
Okay.
And it's obviously just a nickname, but that's already going to be his nickname.
Did they see the ultrasound? They saw the ultrasound and came up with Dinky?
Right. Matt was jealous.
I'm actually a little concerned that I don't know if Jeff or Rob have figured this out yet, or maybe even Sully, and so I'm a little bit scared about what they're going to do to Matt in the group message once they find this information out. So it's going to be wonderful.
About Dinky or his little dick?
Dinky. Everybody probably has an idea that Matt has a micro penis. So.
Oh yeah. Oh no. I'm in a group chat with Matt, and I remind him of his microphallus all the time.
I'm sure, and I think that's pretty wonderful of you to do that. So he gets a pretty hard time in our group message as well. So I try to leave him alone. You know, he already has a hard enough time. You know.
So the other thing that I always remind him of is him losing his socks. And I don't know if you ever remember the story or saw the episode, but in Kingdom Crawl, we're in South Dakota, and we're scouting a trail, Kong, which is one of the hardest trails in South Dakota in the Black Hills. And we're just scouting it, and we're walking. By the way, Josh Huntley tells us, it's just a quick walk down this trail. And this quick walk ended up being like an hour long.
Oh God!
It was a hike. So we get down to the bottom of the trail. Matt says, "Oh fuck, I have to take a shit." I'm like, "Don't know what to tell you, man. We're all walking. There's no rigs here." And he's like, "I have to go." And it was already peeking out like, "Hello."
Oh boy.
So he takes a walk into the bushes, and he comes back without socks.
Hey man, you got to do what you got to do, right? You know, socks are just as good as toilet paper. That's currency, man. So.
Yeah. I mean, they got to be pretty soft too. So, but after that hike, they had to have been a little wet.
Hey, if you're ever off-roading with Brent, though, he always has wet wipes and he has good shitter paper, man. I must say, Brent is the king of carrying good shitter paper and good wet wipes. So, just
don't share a room with that motherfucker. He snores like a fucking freight train.
He does snore, yes. Marvin does too, though. Marvin's a big snorer, man. He'll hurt you. I snore as well, but man, bro, whew. Yeah, we'll do hell and back sometimes. Marvin's like, "Oh, we split the hotel room." I'm like, "Hell no, we won't be splitting the hotel room. I need at least a little bit of sleep before I'm up for 24 hours, bro. There's been too many times where I've been burned by that. Love you to death, bro, but you snore like a fucking freight train, son. Oh my god. Yeah, Brent's a big one too, and if he drinks, he snores really loud, exceptionally loud. So yeah,
I had a room next to Brent and Rob in South Dakota.
Oh fuck, they both snore loud. And Rob does that thing where he gets up in the middle of the night or whatever too. So that's
God,
a whole nother thing.
So on the trip that we had in Colorado, Brent and Rob were sharing a room also, and I guess during their trip out to Colorado, Rob woke up in the middle of the night, and he either thought something was going on or tried to rescue somebody, but he picked up Brent out of bed to try to rescue him, like something was going on.
Oh yeah, he wasn't awake, but he was like, it's like that's his version of like
a sleepwalk.
Sleepwalking from the war or whatever, right? Like, oh hell yeah, dude, yeah, he does some weird things when he sleeps sometimes.
So after I heard that story, we're all sharing a KOA in Buena Vista because we're going to run Carnage Canyon.
Yeah,
and so we're at the KOA. We're all sharing this huge cabin, and Rob has his AR with him. And he has it just hanging on the bedpost. And I'm thinking, this is not going to be fucking good. I'm like, Rob, I know you have it on safety, but just please make sure it's on safety. And I had my own, I don't want to say my own room, but it was kind of like just adjacent from the other bunks. And I hear him get up at the middle of the night and start talking. I'm like, oh, fuck, oh, fuck, oh, fuck. I don't know what's going to happen next. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen next, but oh, fuck.
Oh, shit. Taliban. You're like, oh, fuck, here we go. Get down. I've got you all. Like, Gabe's like, no, different brown guy.
He's like Strawberry from that movie Up in Smoke.
I'm Taco Brown, not Turban Brown.
Yeah. Shit, bro. Whew. Oh, man.
But you're right. Brent does have the good shit, because when we're at Windrock, I had a little issue where I had to take a really bad shit at night. We're at night trying to rescue that XJ.
Oh shit!
And I'm like holding my stomach. I'm like, I'm trying to hold it. I can't hold it anymore. Does anyone have anything? Brent's like, oh hell yeah, man! I got some right here. Go ahead. It's just right in that bag. It should be right on top.
He's a fucking bag or a bin for everything. Dude be thinking about stuff, man. It's like, even his trailer is like, if you can't find what you need to fix a problem in that trailer, you're fucked, dude. There's nobody can help you. He's got spare bearings, kingpin parts, axle shafts. Like, he's always like the most prepared dude on the trail. It's always really a wonderful thing when he was wheeling with us, man, to be able to go out with him and enjoy that, you know. So
yeah. I'm starting to think I'm kind of a jinx, because I was also with you at Windrock when you had broke an output shaft, and it got really late.
I broke actually an outer axle shaft. What happened was you know, it's funny. My old Jeep was set up for 40s and lived on 40s all its life, and it probably had a pretty good life. It come from New Mexico, man, like in the prime wheeling, like over where Lauren Healy lives and stuff.
Farmington.
Yeah, and so. You know, that's the good wheeling spot, man. People are hard on shit. And I put those 42 red labels on that bitch, dude. And as soon as it did no traction like that until it met those fucking axle shaft, bro. And it just ripped that bitch right off. Snapped that outer axle shaft, the stub shaft. And that was a pretty long night, because that rail trail is no joke. We've had terrible luck on that trail. I mean, I've lost brake lines and all kinds of just weird shit have happened to me on that trail. But I love that trail. It's a ton of fun. It's a hell of a good challenge, especially after it's rained. And then Marvin's steering box fucked up that same night. Yeah. And do you remember that? So, yeah, every time you go out with us, Gabe, something catastrophic happens, bro. It's crazy.
But I get the good footage of it. That's the only thing that matters,
hell yeah, you
right?
do. Hell yeah, you do.
But I remember also that same night, we weren't there, but we saw all the emergency vehicles heading up the trail because some knucklehead was...
I was there. I actually got there like 1 or 2 minutes after that happened. The dude drove off the main road of Windrock, just launched it off with him and his girlfriend. They hit so hard, it broke the seats out of the side-by-side. I'd never seen that before. Yeah, it was fucked up, Armando, I'll tell you.
Damn.
She was like, hey, where's my mom and dad? And we're like, just set the fuck down. Like the dude was really in bad shape. I think he had broke his back in 2 places and like ruptured his spleen. They had to have him airlifted. It was a really bad situation. Like, just to come upon that and to see that, that's a scary sight, you know. And a lot of those people that have those machines, that, you know, they finance them. They just go in like, hey, I can afford, you know, $128 a month forever. And they don't take it, and they've never been off-roading, they don't take any safety courses, they don't have good safety equipment, or they're not wearing a helmet or a seatbelt, and they end up really getting hurt. You see it in Glamis all the time. You see it everywhere, man. Like anywhere a lot of people
everywhere.
Ride those things.
Right.
Yeah, it's really sad.
It's bad out here too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Some of these communities have actually even talked about doing training before they'll even allow you to purchase it. And, kind of like one part of me says, fuck that. Like that's infringing on my freedoms. But at the same time, like, a lot of those people really, really need that education. It can save their life, So, where do you go with that? Same
and
with
the lives around them.
Oh, yeah. And the trail littering, like that's another thing, and it's not that people in side-by-sides litter. What they do is they throw their beer can in the fucking floorboard, and it goes out one of the 92 holes that are, open in the side of the machine, and it falls on the ground, right? So, and some people are littering on both sides, right? But you do see that a lot. We do so much trail cleanup, and you're like, fuck, dude, this is a heavy side-by-side area. It's 1,000 times worse than any of the other trails we've been on because side-by-sides are on it, right? And that sucks.
Yeah.
So
yeah. They're smaller. They get off trail easier. They're like, there's no trail here, but I fit through there. Where a Jeep or other vehicle doesn't fit through there.
Yep.
So
you see it all the time, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. The local sheriffs here got 2 Can-Am side-by-sides that the range deputies use. And I went out and did some stuff with them, and they were just like, yeah, it's crazy how much the side-by-sides are out here. People just don't even know what they're doing. Yeah. Like they're going off trails, doing donuts. Yeah. And he's like, you know how many broken arms we see out here a weekend?
How many people have you had the conversation with? It's like, you walk up to their brand new machine and the plastics are cracked, and you ask them, like, when did you do that? They always tell you, when I first got the machine, like first weekend, first day, I took it out and did a rip and I flipped the bitch over. And it's like, they're so powerful and they're so capable. It's kind of crazy what you can buy for $50,000, right? Like out of the door or cheaper, right? Like it's insane the capabilities of those machines right out of the box. And, we have buggies and all these really capable rigs, but the rigs are almost just as capable for, a tenth of the price, right? It's insane.
Yeah. So one thing we tried to get you on the show about maybe a month and a half ago, 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And we had talked a lot about concerts and shows that we've been to. And you being in Nashville at the time, a long time ago. I don't want to say a long time ago because I don't want to age you or anything like that.
It's like 50 years ago.
I'm a fucking relic by now, dude. I'm 43 now. I'm not scared to tell anybody that. So I've seen a lot of concerts in Nashville. So.
But you were also a part of a lot of the promotion stuff going on there.
Yeah.
And did a lot of marketing then also.
Yeah.
What was one of the concerts that sticks out in your mind the most?
So the early Bonnaroos were really, really good. They were something else, man. Like the infrastructure wasn't good. The people were truly there for the music. The band choices were just amazing. But I remember one of my favorite Bonnaroos was Stevie Wonder and followed up by Jay-Z.
Wow.
Incredible, dude. And, I've listened to some of the best rock shows, rap shows, blues shows. I mean, I've heard everybody, right? Hip hop, pop, everything, right? But I will tell you, that was an incredible night, man. And what's funny is I guess I'm a closet Jay-Z fan, right? Like you wouldn't find me you wouldn't pin me as your hip hop lover, right? But I love all the old Jay-Z stuff, man. And I'm singing every single song, dude. And I just had the best time. And then Stevie Wonder pops on, right? And you're like, holy shit, what a legend. And I've had the opportunity to see Stevie twice, and man, he puts on one hell of a show, dude. He's such an entertainer, dude. It's crazy how talented that guy is.
Did you ever happen a chance to see James Brown also?
Never saw James Brown, dude. I saw Little Richard before. He lived, he didn't live far from here. You know that, right? Mm-hmm. Like his home was in this area. So that's where he lived until he died. Actually his house went up for sale, I think last year finally. No, I've seen a lot of really cool older acts like that. Paul McCartney's another one that's really incredible. What a fucking showman. When you see people like that in concert, you just know why they're there. Saw the Rolling Stones. They did that first tour for a long time. They did the stadium tour. They did the Titan Stadium. Paid like $1,200 for a fucking ticket. I would never spend that much on a concert ticket, but dude, we had the best time ever. And what a hell of a show, man. I left that show so pumped up and just Felt so good. They didn't even play that many songs, right? And dude, it was just an incredible night. Like the feeling and the energy coming from that stage was unlike anything else I'd ever seen. It just tells you why those people are legends and why they have come from where they come from, and they're still relevant. Like people pay $1,200 for a ticket and it sells out, right? It's crazy.
Yeah. I've only been to Nissan Stadium once, but I can already tell there's not a bad seat in that place.
No, this sounds really great, actually. You know,
Is it sound good there?
Yeah. I mean, it's not the Ryman. So, like, if you ever want to go see a gem of a show, go to the Ryman. It's every year. It's in like the top 10, Polestar live music venues rated, highly rated, because the sound in that room it's a church, right? It's a church from 130 years ago or something, right? So, it's just got an incredible sound. And I actually just saw a show there last month. I went and saw Willie Nelson's son Lucas. I'm a big fan of what he's doing. I think he's a super fucking talented dude. He put on an incredible show, man. We sat on it's cool how it's laid out. So it's an old church, right? You have your lower bench seats and everything's a pew, like Armando. Yep. So have you been, Gabe, to the Ryman?
Yeah. So okay. That's the only thing I didn't like about it is that they still have pews, because the person you're sitting next to, you're like, holy fuck, I hope this next person's not fat.
That's the only uncomfortable part about it. But it's cool. It's like an old fucking church and those pews are still there. And then you have a balcony, but the balcony hangs like really, really low, Armando. So like your lower seats, like the upper set, like the rear of the lower seats, you don't really see the whole stage because of your mezzanine, your balcony's so low. But man, the sound in that room is unlike anything else you've ever heard, man. It's incredible. It's just out of this world. It's so pure and real and honest, and just comes from a special place. And people that play there are usually so honored to play there. They know what that place stands for and the history in that, as far as being a musician. They really try hard to put on one hell of a show. And it is one cool place, man.
The Grand Ole Opry used to play there too, right?
That's where it originated. So when you go to the Opry House, which is over by the Opryland Hotel, and you go and look at the stage, the center is like a really old piece of refinished hardwood flooring, right? That was the original stage. They cut out the golden circle. So like where all the old greats, like the Maybelle Carter and like, Hank Williams Sr. and all those folks played, like you can stand on there when you're actually performing at the Opry, which is also kind of neat. So they retain that piece of floor. Yeah, a lot of history there. Tons of it.
So I had texted you last week because I was watching Willie Nelson and the Family. It was it's a show on Showtime. Yeah. And I obviously I didn't grow up in Nashville, but I started thinking, man, if I would have grown up in Nashville in the 70s and 80s, it probably would have been a kick-ass fucking time because of the country music back then.
Yeah. I mean, even history, like even if you go back further than that, like, so out where my shop is in Madison, like all those dudes, like a lot of them lived out that way. They lived on Gallatin Road all the way to Hendersonville, right? Even in the early days, like, Johnny Cash and all those guys moved a little further out. But, if you were more wealthy, you lived even closer. Like up by my shop, like the Colonel's house, which was Elvis's manager, they just tore it down to build a car wash a couple of years ago, which was kind of sad, and it was still there to this day, right on Gallatin Road. And they were all kind of a tight-knit community. All the guys that worked in the music business and the Opry and all that stuff, they all kind of lived near each other, and they were friends, and they hung out, and they recorded music together. It was a really, really tight-knit community. And then you go through the 80s and 70s and 80s. It's kind of like, you got your standard folks who are playing country music. You got your outlaws, your guys who are like, fuck you to the music establishment. Like, your Willie Nelsons and, your Waylon Jennings, right? And, you got those guys doing their thing, partying hard, right? Ripping and roaring and playing shows and, and still climbing the charts, pissing off all the country music executives, right? So it's a cool story. And even like the 80s, man, like, there was a lot of really cool, incredible music there in the 80s too. You got people like even, that are still relevant today, like Lee Greenwood, right? Like that dude still got a relevant career, and he's still making a ton of money and probably doing better now than he ever was. And, he's done a huge compound on Music Row. Like it was cool. Like even when I was a kid, I grew up in the 80s and 90s, obviously, but I had a friend named Brian. His grandfather was, one of the Music Row legends, man. He had like 4 houses right on Music Row, and they were all old houses. He had studios in them and offices, and it was just cool spending the time down there and growing up and kind of learning how the business worked from that perspective. He actually reached out to me probably about 3 months ago, and we talked. He's been living in Texas, but it was just nice to get to reconnect with him and kind of share stories, because his uncle and his father and his grandfather all worked in the music business. So he's actually producing artists now out of Texas, which is cool.
So from what I understand, there's 2 music rows, right? There's one on Broadway, and then there's one adjacent to Broadway where the studios are. Is that right?
No, you have Music Row and Music Square. So it's like
Okay.
2 roads that run parallel to each other. I think it's 16th and 17th. God, my brain is fried today. It's been a long day, but I believe it's 16th and 17th Ave. So once you go around, like you go up Demumbrium and you go around that circle of the naked people where we had pizza that night that Brent snitched on Matt, and then you can go down, right? So you can go down one, you can come up the other, and that's what you call Music Row. So, and there's not many people there anymore. It's like, a lot of the larger companies have moved downtown, kind of the downtown area now, and they're in the high rises, and some of them have moved abroad and outward. But you see a lot of condos there now. The whole thing has changed. I remember about 5 years ago, I guess 6 years ago, when I was kind of in my last years of having anything to really do with the music business, they were going to we're going to tear down the RCA studios, and we went to a big event. Ben Folds was there, and we were in his studio, and we're like, save Music Row, and it's like, this really, really wealthy guy named Aubrey Preston. He's a philanthropist, and, he purchased that building, and he rents that studio out. A guy I used to work with, a producer named Eddie Gore. He's a great guy. Him and Steve Cropper, they took the C studio, and then the A studio is still running now too. And those offices are all reserved for folks who are creatives, this is a really beautiful thing, because, that culture has really gone away a lot. And it's kind of a sad thing. The business of making music has changed so much because, streaming platforms don't pay the artist very much. They don't pay the songwriter hardly anything or nothing. So it's really a struggle to become, someone that is creative and beautiful wordsmith, right? Like a great songwriter, and the ability for them to make a living now is very, very difficult, which is sad,
Yeah. So I'll be honest with you. I always liked country music. My grandfather was big into country music, and he got me into it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But I didn't really truly appreciate it until I moved here.
Well, there's different types of country music, right, Gabe? Like, that's the thing. Like, if you're not into one type of country music, you may be into another type of country music, right? So, like, there's something in country music for everybody. That's why you see it changing so much, and it's evolved so much. So
I'm referring mostly to the older country, where the 80s stuff, the 70s stuff.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, like I said, I listened to it, but I didn't listen to it. I heard it, but I didn't listen to it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah.
You weren't listening to it in Southern California. You were not listening to that music. It wasn't part of your everyday. You wouldn't. I could remember being a kid and hearing a country song and knowing, because I knew people that listened to it, but I wouldn't go to the grocery store and have that playing. You'd never hear that anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Shopping mall, nowhere. So even a country radio station in Southern California, was there one? There was one.
Yeah, I was going to say there had. I think there was one or two. LA didn't have one for the longest.
I think it was like K-Love or something like that.
Yeah. But that was like probably not till the 90s, when the 90s wave of country music, the popular country music, became more influential and became part of Southern California culture a little more.
Oh yeah.
But it was really like the old stuff. You never really heard it on anything in Southern California growing. I don't remember growing up hearing it unless I was at someone's house where you were listening to it purposefully.
The way that I kind of appreciate it is like this. You have your hip hop music where it's very mainstream and you can hear repetitive lyrics, and it's just like, party anthem, typical vibe type thing. And then you have your lyricists where it's methodical, it's purposeful. And you translate that to today where you have, for example, Kane Brown, where it's just a party type thing. But there's the lyricist like Willie Nelson.
Yeah.
Where you have, he says something and you think about it and like, Oh, that's what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
It's completely different. And that's where I'm at right now. Where I'll listen to it. I'm like, holy fuck, this is going to make me cry.
Oh yeah, they talked about real shit, like real struggles. They weren't rich men back then, so they had real struggles. Like, I know that Willie and Waylon shared an apartment above Tootsie's. So when you walk up the stairs to go to Tootsie's, there used to be another floor. They've kind of moved that around, but it used to be a little office, and they had like a little apartment there, dude. You know, Tootsie Best let them stay there, man, because they didn't have anywhere to go. Like, there was literally nowhere for them to go. They also shared an apartment, I think, off of over kind of near the fairgrounds kind of area, I guess is the easiest way to Wedgwood kind of 8th Avenue area. They kind of shared an apartment over there at one point in time. And I know a little bit of the history about that, but those guys, they all like 3 or 4, like popped up in a little apartment together and just, were broke as hell and just tried to make ends meet, man, for the longest. And you're like, oh, these guys are ultimately, famous and, they've made millions of dollars, and they all struggled a lot in their early years, and they could have taken a lot easier route, especially Willie. And he just took the really harder route because he wanted to do it his way. And Waylon did the same thing. They just wanted these clean cut, good looking dudes, and these kind of hippie ass looking biker dudes are rolling out, talking about, fuck the establishment, let's roll, right? And so it's crazy to say they overcame and they made it, and the establishment had to love them, and now they're like a national treasure, right? It's like Johnny Cash or or even Willie, like obviously Johnny Cash is. I was actually watching his last show on YouTube about 2 weeks ago. Randomly, it just came up in my YouTube feed, and I was like, shit. And, they wheeled him in a wheelchair. He his hands were hardly working, and he was struggling to use the guitar, but he still played a great show, and he still it was undeniably Johnny Cash. And his wife had died, and he talked about that a lot and how much he missed her. And all you knew was that dude's heart missed his half of his heart that was missing, and it was the most beautiful thing and sad, at the same time. And he played a couple of songs that almost makes me want to tear up. It's crazy, but like, you love someone so much. He's like, man, I miss her so much. I'm gonna play this song that we wrote together, or the song she wrote, and he just wanted the world to hear that story and to know how he felt, And I watched Willie play here in Nashville. It's probably 2 summers ago. There's kind of an old rock quarry that's out on 840, where 840 and 65 meets, like First Bank Amphitheater. And we saw him play, and man, he's fucking old, dude. He fucked up like the first half of the entire show. I mean, it was crazy. I was like, God, this is terrible. But he came alive, and it was Willie. It was like, I can't say this show sucked, because it didn't, but it was a fucked up first half of the show, right? It was so weird. Like, this guy was like, who the fuck is letting him play guitar still, bro? Like, he was like, he's trying. I'm like, maybe he's stoned out of his mind, or maybe he's just fucking old, dude.
That's what it is.
Yeah, he still wants to let the world hear his gift, dude, because he's so talented, man. And Willie's other son, I believe his name is Jacob. I can't remember. I think it's Jacob. But Jacob was playing guitar with him, and it was Willie Nelson and family, right? And I was kind of actually excited. I was like, fuck yeah, Lucas is going to be here, because I think Lucas is like a reincarnation of his father, man. He is like, he's a spitting image. He looks like him. He sounds like him. He has that same beautiful tone in his voice. He is such a wonderful songwriter. And he is one hell of a talented guitarist. And the dude fucking rips too, man. He can slay the guitar. It's so awesome. So anyway, we didn't get to see him, but David Allan Coe opened up for him, which was fucking awesome. And so that was cool. And so it was one hell of a show for sure. That's for sure.
Man, I think I might have to check out a Lucas Wilson show, just because you're the second person that has said that he is almost the spitting image of Willie. And I've never seen Willie
out
live.
Any YouTube of him, even like find a really cool music channel or like a 4K video, with like good sound on YouTube. And, like, throw your speakers in or throw your good headphones in and just actually listen. Like, close your eyes and listen, dude. You'll be blown away at the quality of his music. He is definitely his father. He's got some cool shit going on.
Yeah. Dolly Parton had mentioned in an interview that she remembers going down 40 from Knoxville with Willie Nelson. And in the time that he that they were traveling from Knoxville to Nashville. He wrote 2 songs and smoked almost a half an ounce of weed.
I'm sure. There's a song that Toby Keith wrote with a guy named Dean Dillon, who's another really famous songwriter. It's he didn't
Never
write
smoke weed with Willie.
Yes.
Never
He
smoke
did
weed with
write that
Willie
song.
again.
Who was it? Scotty. Somebody wrote this song with him. I think it was Scotty. Can't think of his last name to save my life right now, but they're talking about when I was actually in college, I was in college for music business, and Toby came and spoke, and he was telling the story about he's like, oh, I heard all the fucking stories, and like, I went on the bus with this dude, and like, bro, like, it was the most insane thing I'd ever experienced in my life, and he's talking about it. He wrote this song about it. And the song is truth, man. So it's crazy. That song wasn't written to like normal, like, we'll put a boot in your ass, that's American way. Like, this isn't all that bullshit, like pandering to people. Like, this is like a legitimate song he wrote, and I'm like, shit, man, that's crazy. So, but that's the legend of Willie, man. I mean, everybody will tell you, dude, will tell you a story like that about Willie, dude. That's crazy. It's probably why he's lived so long. He smoked so much weed. Crazy.
So Snoop Dogg said the same thing, that only Willie Nelson has smoked more weed than he has in one sitting. And I don't know if you remember, but I've told you about the time that I went to the Playboy Mansion party I was there with Snoop Dogg, and I was smoking pot with Snoop Dogg.
Yep.
And you know me, I used to. I mean, I haven't smoked pot for a while now, but I smoked a lot of pot. You know that.
Yes, I do know that. So.
And I smoked pot with Snoop Dogg at the Playboy Mansion, and that was the most stoned I have ever been. It was literally, we just finished rolling a blunt. We're breaking up pot for another blunt. While we're halfway through that blunt, we're already rolling up 2 other blunts for the next session, and it's just going like a train. That one's done. That one's ready. That one's done. That one's ready. That one's ready. That one's done. It was just one after another, and where we're in where the Playboy Mansion is, it's in the valley.
Yeah, been there.
And it's hot, and we were outside, and it was like 110-degree day that day. That day also was they were filming America's Next Top Model, so they had America's Next Top Model as the bartenders. And they were fucking stupid people, so they were only pouring vodkas. It was sponsored by a vodka company.
Oh, Jesus,
So on top of just smoking fucking blunts with Snoop Dogg, we were just getting hammered on vodka. So by the time I'm ready to leave, I walk out, and I'm waiting for the valet to bring the car around so we can go back to the hotel. I almost passed out.
Were you dehydrated? Were you drunk? Were you stoned? Or were you all of the above?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Exactly.
Apparently, there's no cocaine at the Playboy Mansion, because you would have been fine.
Oh, I wouldn't have done the cocaine anyway.
At the Playboy Mansion, so it was just with the wrong people.
I'm like, wait a minute, you gotta find the antidote.
I don't know if I would have done the cocaine at the time, just because I don't know if. So in LA at the time, I don't know if anyone remembers this, but there was an issue with cocaine being laced with some other crazy shit. So I don't think I would have taken the cocaine at the time. If it was any other time, I would have done a lot of the cocaine too.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. But what's funny is, like, even, talk about cocaine, like these days again, they're going back through that. You see like these groups of people dying because they buy cocaine together, and then they all do cocaine. They all die of like a fentanyl overdose, right?
Right.
Like, hell no, dude. There's not enough. There's nothing in this world that makes me want to die of a fentanyl overdose. You know what I'm saying? I would never want to do cocaine and be concerned about fentanyl. It's funny. I was talking to a person. I guess it's probably last summer or something. He was like, yeah, cocaine's easy. Like these days, I'm like, I wouldn't touch that shit with that fentanyl in it. He's like, oh no, the good dealers will sell you fentanyl test strips with your fucking cocaine. I'm like,
oh my God.
No, bro, no. We're like way past where it's okay at this point. Like, let me test my cocaine for fentanyl before I do my cocaine. Yeah, I'm out on that deal, bro. No way, no fucking way, man. No.
So I was talking to a friend earlier this week about some edibles. And I guess he had got a piece of chocolate that had squares, and you tear off a square of the chocolate, and that's kind of your dose for that day or whatever it might be. And I started thinking, like, man, that kind of reminds me of high school when I used to buy sheets of acid. He's like, and he's the younger guy. So he's like, what do you mean sheets of acid? I'm like, yeah, we used to get sheets of acid where it was 100 squares on a sheet.
Yep.
And each square had some acid on it. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah. There was one time where I didn't know any better, and I took half a sheet at one time. And he was like, are you kidding me? Fuck, I hope my mom's not listening to this episode.
Edit button. We're gonna see us like cut out, and then like we'll be like, let's see this again. Like, what the fuck happened there? Nothing.
I have never.
Here's the word like.
I have never
conversation.
Yeah, this is the only time I have never smelled so many colors in my life.
Yeah, I'm sure. You reset your brain at that point, though, for sure.
Oh my God!
Probably back to childhood,
So what didn't help is someone had told us if you start Fantasia at this certain time with Pink Floyd The Wall, it will send you on another trip that you have never been on before. So I was like, okay, bet, let's do it.
Yep.
So I'm watching Fantasia with about a half a fucking sheet of acid in my system, drinking orange juice, smoking pot. And Fantasia comes on, and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm stuck. I'm like almost in the K-hole.
Yes.
And for those that don't know, a K-hole is just like ketamine, and you're just like, you're stuck on fucking stupid.
You're fucking aware of everything that's going on around you, except for you can't do anything. It's the
can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Nothing, bro. Nothing.
So yeah, and what really tripped me out is my friend, we're at his house, and he had these light switches that were heat sensitive, touch sensitive.
Huh.
And his parents were freaks. I think they were swingers, and they had mirrors on every wall in the living room. So we're watching Fantasia, the lights are off. All of a sudden the lights kick on, and we look in the mirror, obviously, and there's no one in the fucking room. And I'm like, oh my God, we got to get out of here. They're coming for us. So I fucking run outside, and I run outside straight into this fucking swimming pool.
Soaking wet and freaking out, and probably not knowing even the way to tell your brain to make your arms swim, or to like hold your breath to hold yourself up. You're probably like, it's crazy.
It was bad. I did a lot of drugs in high school. A lot. Too many drugs in high school.
You have mentioned that a few times before.
Yes, I don't regret it.
It's just an experience, dude. I've done my fair share of crap in my life. Obviously, I don't even drink anymore. I haven't done anything since 2007, which is a long freaking time. It's crazy. So
speaking of drinking, I remember when I told you that I had developed an alcohol allergy.
Yeah.
And I had stopped drinking because of that.
Yeah.
So Jennifer had bought us tickets to Nearest Green Distillery, which is just down the street.
Yep.
And I'm like, do you not remember that I have this allergy? And she's like, I forgot. So I'm like, okay, I'll go and we'll try it. I'll have a sip. If it doesn't affect me, I'll keep drinking. So we finished the tasting, and I have no effects of the allergy anymore whatsoever.
Okay. So he hasn't stopped drinking since.
So now I haven't stopped drinking.
Holy shit! Look at the bullet there, bro.
It was like it's been a month now, and he just hasn't stopped drinking.
So let Leslie know that we're gonna have to have some drinks together, because I owe her some good times and a hug.
That's awesome. Hell yeah. So the coolest thing about me going to Canada so much, my boss likes to drink. He drinks whiskey, Canadian whiskey mostly. So every time I go, I bring him like some special edition bottle of bourbon. Like I took him Eagle Rare last time. He's had there's also like this whole fucking whiskey bourbon store now in the airport where they sell like really nice shit. You don't have to go through security with it, right? You can just buy it right there and fly straight up to Canada with it. So I've been buying in fucking $200-$300 bottles of cool shit every time I go. And he's like, dude, I think I got the baddest bourbon collection in Canada. I'm like, you probably do, dude. Every time I come up, I bring you something else. So tomorrow, actually, I'm going to go to to the liquor store across the street and get a bottle of E.H. Taylor. So that's their day that their new liquor drops. So I'm going to go pick him a bottle of that because I've been looking for one for like 6 months. And the guy at the liquor store is like, he's like, you don't drink? I'm like, nah, dude, it's just gifts, you know? So I laugh because you look over on my desk over here. I have 2 bottles of Romy, man, which is like another super rare,
that's good
rare
stuff.
rye.
Yeah.
They only make this in small quantities. So I took him a bottle a while back, and I just kind of always keep one of those around for like a really nice customer. I'll go visit them and I'll drop one off to them. Because it's cool to receive something like that. Especially if you're a drinker, like it means something more. So I always try to give nice alcohol to my my better customers. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. It's funny, there's a few people that know me really well and that I've hunted with and that sort of thing have said, we've been out with you and you haven't drank shit. I wish I would have known that this allergy was gone. Like my buddy Mike Park, I went duck hunting with him in Arkansas. And he saw me post on Facebook that I had bought some liquor. And he's like, I didn't know you drink. I'm like, I didn't know either until just recently this thing went away. So it was like, and he sends me pictures and text of his whiskey bar, bourbon bar, and he's got just bottles and bottles and bottles in a special room in his house for drinking bourbon and whiskey. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna have to take a visit to your place.
I'm coming to visit you, buddy. Yeah, no shit, right? So, how is the whole journey of not smoking weed gone? How is that going?
It's a lot easier than I thought it was going to be.
Cool, that's awesome. I knew at one point you're like, I don't think I could live without this shit, bro. Like my life revolves around it, And when you told me you're like, I'm gonna take a break, and I was like, what the fuck? Are you all right, dude? Like, you got cancer or something? Like, what the fuck's going on here? Like you're Gabe. Like seriously. So I've kind of I've wanted to ask that question, but I haven't, And it's like, man, 'cause that's your personal journey. I'm like, hey, if you're okay with speaking about this, I'd love to hear about your journey. Like,
Yeah. My dreams have gotten more intense though. They've gotten so crazy, like insanely crazy. I've talked about it before where I had a dream where, and I told Jennifer and she cracked the fuck up because she's black, obviously. But, and I say this because I had a dream. I was on a bus and Keanu Reeves was on the bus and Sandra Bullock and Rosa Parks.
Is this like Speed for like, I don't know.
I have no idea. But
I'm gonna get canceled if I keep on. I'll let you continue. I'm sorry.
It's civil rights speed.
Something.
But
Rosa
Parks told me to get to the back of the bus because I'm wearing red shoes.
She's a Crip. He's a
racist bitch. Was she out with brown people or what? What's up with that?
I have no idea. But it was just, I woke up kind of like, oh my God, that was such a weird dream that Rosa Parks would tell me to go to the back of the bus because I'm wearing red shoes and Sandra Bullock's driving the fucking bus.
What's Keanu doing?
He was just looking over her shoulder, just like in the movie. It was so bizarre. But I've had multiple dreams where they've just been so weird. And they're very vivid, and they're also very cinematic where there's different camera angles. So I'm almost like producing these dreams as a director of a film.
Huh. I almost wonder if like you smoking weed was like repressing your brain's ability to have this level of like, because like obviously we know that dreams are like really deep sleep, right? And your brain's like resetting and functioning, right? So I wonder if like you were smoking weed, like that kind of almost repressed your ability to go to that deep of sleep or something. Like it relaxed you, but it wouldn't allow you to go to that level of sleep, It's interesting.
Well, I've always had weird dreams, but not vivid to this extent.
It's cool. It actually means your brain's like really, like you're really sleeping, dude. It's cool.
Yeah. But on top of that, I've been working out. I haven't worked out this month because I've had an issue. I've had an intestinal issue that I need to get. I'm actually going to the doctor tomorrow to get checked out for more tests. But this issue that I'm having, it's affecting my breathing. So every time I take a deep breath, it hurts my lungs, basically. So I don't think it's very serious. It might just be a gallbladder that I have to get taken out.
Yeah.
Which is an outpatient procedure basically these days.
Yeah.
So once I have that figured out, I'm going to start working out again. I just can't really breathe the way that you would if you're doing a 90-minute workout.
Yeah.
So but yeah, I my dreams have just been more vivid since I stopped smoking. And ironically, since I started drinking, the nights that I am drinking, the dreams aren't there.
Huh. That's even weirder. So it's like you're back to using the alcohol to repress that deep of sleep, right? So you're not getting the level of deep sleep like you would be getting, in a normal your body's not being affected by any substance, right? Like, that's really interesting.
Yeah. I don't understand it. I don't get it. But the days that I do have some drinks before bed, I don't mind, because the dreams prevent me from sleeping well, because I will wake up and be like, and start to analyze them. It'll be 3 a.m. and I'm analyzing this fucking dream, and I won't go back to sleep.
Yeah, but with the dreams being that vivid, it would mean that your body is actually resting better, in my opinion. Like, you may be more tired, but for some reason, like, it doesn't. I believe when you're dreaming like heavily like that, it means you're like in a really deep level of sleep. And that's what your body always really needs to hit. Like, I don't dream at all, which is terrible. Like, that's an awful thing. Like, I have maybe one dream a year. Like, it's very, everybody's like, no, you're still dreaming. I'm like, I just don't think I sleep that well. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I bought a nice mattress, like, I have a fucking Tempur-Pedic. Like, I've got Caroloa fucking sheets, Caroloa pillows. Like, I've got the nicest shit you can buy, but I don't dream very often, So I would attribute that to not sleeping deep.
The funniest one, though.
I don't either.
You don't?
Really?
Okay.
No. But I also don't dream very much, but I sleep very well.
It's because you're taking edibles.
Because I get an edible.
But that's back to the whole Gabe thing, right? Like, you feel like you're sleeping well, or you attribute that to sleeping for a longer period of time, but if we're not dreaming, I don't believe we're actually sleeping as well as we could be sleeping. So
yeah,
I believe that's the way that's supposed to be, is like, that's an indicator that you're sleeping like a really deep level of sleep. Now, somebody that's like a sleeping professional is gonna be like, you stupid fuck, you don't know what you're talking about. But I believe that's the truth. Actually, I think I read that somewhere, or watched a documentary on that or something at some point in time. So
the funniest one, and we've talked about it on the podcast before, is I had a dream that Lamb Chop, Lamb Chop,
like
Michael
little,
Wilkinson.
like, oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, Lamb Chop. Yeah, fuck yeah, of course I know. I thought you were talking about, like, the little, like, fucking animal or whatever. I was like, yeah, the fucking lamb thing. No, of course I know Lamb Chop. Yeah, he loves to touch my hair, run his hands through it and breathe heavily on my neck right in this area and kiss me here. It's the strangest thing, but I love him. He's a good guy.
So and he does blacksmithing sometimes, and he made me a kitchen knife, a chopper. And I had a dream that he was on the TV show Forged in Fire.
Oh yeah.
You're familiar with that show?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And on this show, he was just cussing up a storm. He was on coke. He was drunk. He made it to the final round. He finished early. The video crew's following him around because he finished early, and he's just doing coke. He's smoking blunts. He's drinking.
Nice.
And he won.
Well, so obviously, cocaine, what you just told me was cocaine makes blacksmithing far easier, and you're a far superior blacksmith if you're doing cocaine. Is that correct?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So I've been doing a long-term study, actually, and come to find out, my thought process here is that cocaine must make everything better, right? Is that the idea there, right? You have to be better at everything on cocaine, apparently. So
maybe Scarface would tell you that.
Maybe we're not figuring it out. Like, maybe we are doing it wrong, by not doing drugs. Like, we should maybe all just start doing massive amounts of cocaine or something. So,
what were some of the funny names that you used as code for cocaine?
Bro, it's been a long time. Remember? I don't know. Fuck, I don't know, dude. It's been too long of a day for my brain to go back that far in time. So,
we used to call it the Bobby D.
Oh, jeez, man. No, God. Yeah. White girl, all that shit. Like, God, there's so many fucking, that thing. Yayo. Fucking,
Yayo.
Oh, my God. Yeah. So, you're going to wake my brain up from, like, a certain deep sleep of shit in my mind. God, no.
You're going to have shitty dreams tonight.
I would dream about doing it.
The one night a year. Here's your one night a year. Shitty dreams.
Number one. Great. So, thanks, Gabe.
Bring up cocaine memories.
Jeez.
Look, we've kept you long enough. I told you we'd only be an hour, so we'll go ahead and wrap it up here. I appreciate you coming on the show with us and talking, and, bringing up some old memories and talking music and off road and catching up with what's going on with you right now. So thank you.
Thanks, man. Anytime. I appreciate you guys having me on. If you need anything, I'm always happy to come back and chat it up with you boys. So.
Oh hell yeah!
Cool. Thank you, brother.
All right.
Tell the wife
guys.
I said hi.
I will, absolutely. Likewise.
Right, see you.
Bye, guys.